What's up, comic book fans, and welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me, and today we got a DC KO tie-in, this time with Superman issue number 31. And in case you guys missed the explosive opening art to this DC KO event, I'll leave a link for you at the top of the screen to that video, as well as a link at the end of this video to that one too, so you can go back and check that out. That's key before you get into this one. So if you haven't checked that out, pause this, go spin around the block, check that out, and then come on back and dig into this. Because this right here kind of fleshes out a little bit more of what happened in that issue. You know, the DC KO issue had so much going from so many different angles, and it moved so quickly, where now these individual tie-in issues break down a little bit more of what's happening from each character's perspective, with this one being, of course, Superman. And with this DC KO event being more of a Superman-centric event, I feel like it's very important to follow along with his tie-in issues. So this is a pretty massive event. We probably won't cover all of the tie-ins, but I'll try my best to at least get the most important ones that really move the plot forward. But with all that being said, if you guys are ready to find out what this DC KO event is like from Superman's perspective and how it affects the rest of the people around him, and stay tuned for the end, because I promise y'all there is a huge twist and it is dope. But if you guys are ready for all that, then you know what time it is. Let's get it. So this issue kicks off during a section of the DC KO event that we covered. But this is the part at the Watchtower when Time Trapper is bringing all the heroes together and explaining the situation with Darkseid. So the issue kicks off with Superman asking Time Trapper, aka Doomsday, why he should trust him. Because it is, you know, Doomsday. But Doomsday's response is like, look, I led you to boost the gold. I saved you from Darkseid's legions. Is that not enough for you, Superman? But Superman knows that Doomsday is hiding something. Time Trapper is hiding something. He's not telling the full story. And Time Trapper responds that I've shown you what is coming. That Darkseid will win. That the future is already lost. That for you to defeat Darkseid and his armies, you must venture to the heart of Apokolips and crown a King Omega. But Superman's like, yeah, I want to believe you. I want to believe Booster. But you talking about jeopardizing every single life on the planet. I need more. So Trapper's like, look, Kal-El, we have history. You and I are connected at our origins, our deaths. Trust is irrelevant. I don't care if you trust me. You've seen the truth for yourself. Darkseid is coming. And the only way you can save your world is to show no mercy. Then we pick up a little bit after the Watchtower meeting, but before the tournament begins, as Superman visits the Fortress of Solitude. And when he gets in, the robots are doing a little remodeling, reconstructing, since it got jacked up during the whole Absolute Power event by Amanda Waller. But, you know, Superman goes ahead and lets the robots continue to do all the heavy lifting. He's here to take care of some business, and he grabs one of those crystals and puts it in and accesses his father. He talks to Jor-El, and he starts off telling Jor-El, look, I don't have a lot of time, but I got some questions about Krypton. So Jor-El responds, okay, yeah, that's why this simulation was provided. This is why I placed our world's files in your rocket. That way you'll have access. So Superman's like, well, what do those files have on Darkseid? And Jor-El's response is, there is no knowledge of Darkseid in our records. Okay, then Superman says, how about a King Omega? Once again, there is no knowledge of King Omega in our records. So Superman's like, is it possible that not all of Kryptonian history was within the rocket? And Jor-El responds that some information was deemed illegal. And there are pieces of history that were never transcribed. Memories that were passed down from generation to generation. Ancestral knowledge. Life stories that did not need to be filed. But that was all lost when Krypton was destroyed. Superman's like, look, I know, I get all of that. But you're not really you. You're just a simulation that the rocket provided to give me history and comfort. So I understand if you can't really answer this question, but Father, why did you save only me? And this is when Jor-El tells him, because your mother and I loved you and we wanted to save you. But Superman's like, well, what about a larger shuttle though? Why just me? And Jor-El is like, look, space travel was illegal on Krypton for generations. Knowledge from outside our world was forbidden. Because of this, I was forced to build your rocket with limited resources and in secret. So now Kal-El's like, well, what if you had unlimited resources? And Jor-El's like, I don't have any knowledge of that. And Clark continues, if you could have the help and resources and the ability to build more shuttles, what would you have done? And Jor-El's response is, I would have saved everyone. And for Kal-El, that was the answer he was looking for. And he thanks his father and flies up out of there. Then we switch over to LexCorp, formerly known as Supercorp, with Mercy Graves and Parasite. This Parasite is recovering from his fight with Doomsday. And Mercy tells him that you're lucky your Parasite powers absorbed some of Doomsday's energy before he ripped you in half. It saved your life. It took some time, but you're healing nicely. And this is where Parasite is like, that punk got lucky. Next time I'm taking a bigger bite. But that monster's power was tasty. I haven't felt this full ever. So basically he's healing much faster from his fight with Doomsday, from draining Doomsday, and he wants more. So I think that's something to keep in mind throughout this event. I'm sure we're going to get a meetup between those two again. But Mercy responds that that's what worries me. After Doomsday, can you ever match that power source again? Will everything else feel like table scraps? But that's when Superman shows up and interrupts this conversation. And he says, Mercy, I need to talk. So Mercy asks Superman if this has anything to do with the apocalyptic fire pits erupting around Earth. So Superman's like, what do you know? And she replies, LexCorp, scientists have picked up fluctuations at the Earth's core. Something big is down there, something powerful. So she has Superman follow her. And she tells him, you might have cut LexCorp off from all JLU communications, but we have our ways. We know the Justice League has been active, working with the Titans, preparing some sort of mass evacuation. So we got to work ourselves. And side note, I'm way behind on a lot of these comic issues, and especially DC. Historically, I've been more of a Marvel guy, but lately I've been leaning towards DC a lot. I like what they're doing. But a lot of this history I'm kind of behind on. So some of you guys, you might have to correct me and let me know, put me on game in these comments about some of these relationships. But I thought that Superman and Mercy were at odds with each other. So y'all let me know, how did we get to this point with them? But she shows them what they call the super ship. Supercorp was developing it before you left us. The idea was to take our scientists to the stars. I've been studying Brainiac's bottle technology and how he makes the most of the constraints of physical space. We can put a whole city inside one super ship, maybe a whole country. So Superman's like, okay, good. We need a dozen of them. And I know a few people who can help you build them fast. And she's like, wait, 12? Superman, what the hell is going on? What you talking about, Willis? I know I just showed my unk status with that one. But then we pick up in Metropolis as Clark is breaking the news to Lois. And she's like, wait, you're doing what? And his cousin Kara, she even chimes in to help back Clark up on this one. She tells Lois, I know how crazy all this sounds. A fight tournament to save the world is nuts. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but after what the Time Trapper showed us about the future, I believe him. But you know, Lois can't never take off that reporter hat, and she tells him, you mean old man Doomsday? The guy who killed you, Clark? This is what he wanted all along, for you to go along with some insane plan he had. But Clark continues, John Henry and Steelworks are working with Mercy to put together evacuation shuttles. John is already with the Titans to help coordinate the major population centers, and the Justice League is training. So she's like, you're planning to lose. But he really wants to just make sure that Lois is safe. He's like, I could lose. We could lose. And if I do, I need to make sure all y'all are good. But Lois wants to make sure it's not just her. You can't just be saving me. If you're doing this, you can't give me special privilege. You got to get everyone. But that's when they're interrupted by Martha and John Kent. They've come to visit from Smallville, and Superman completely forgot what everything is going on. But when Martha sees Clark, she hugs him and she tells him that the last time she saw him, he was going to visit his friends in the future. And she asks him how that went. And he tells her that it didn't quite go as he hoped. But his father is like, look, man, I remember when you were 8 years old and you tried to drive my tractor and crashed into the bar. You made that same face. You look like hell, son. Tell me what's going on. And that's when Superman breaks down the whole situation with Darkseid and everything. And right now, he just wants to spend some extra time with his family before he's got to go and take care of business. But then we pick up with Clark showing Lois the super ships that they've been working on. And he tells her, I'm bringing my Dawn's Day knuckles. And she's like, don't make jokes. I'm worried, Clark. This is exactly what Time Trapper warned us about. And Clark's like, Mercy is taking care of the Doomsday in Radiant Bottle City, taking it with her. Maybe she can use them to investigate Doomsday's past. But Lois is like, I don't trust her either. I'll keep an eye on her, but I just wish there was another way. Something that didn't involve Time Trapper or Doomsday. And Clark tells her, I saw Jor-El at the fortress. I asked him if they had any knowledge of Darkseid or this King Omega in Krypton's archives. He said they had no record of it because knowledge from outside of the planet Krypton was illegal. And she's like, of course he said that. But Lois is extremely doubtful of this. But it's time. It's time for Superman to go off and get this tournament cracking. So he just tells her, hey, he can do this, but he can't focus on that if his mind is preoccupied with her safety. But she assures him that they're going to be safe. Just keep your ears open so you can hear us cheering you on. And as he takes off, Mercy comes and tells Lois that it's time to take off in less than 60. And Lois says, okay, but she's still talking to Clark as he's flying off. And she tells him, I know you can still hear this. Make sure you come back to me. But now as he's gone, all of the people are evacuating in the ships. And we pick up with Mercy inside of the ships leading the evacuation. And she says super ships are exiting the atmosphere. The Titans did great work. It's not easy to evacuate whole cities. And all ships are accounted for except one. Lois, what are you up to? And here Lois responds while she's got control of one of the other ships. And she tells her, I'm here just taking a small detour. And Mercy responds, Lois, we're scheduled to rendezvous at the moon with the Titans. And Lois is like, I know, and I'll be there. But something Superman said has been bugging me. And I smell a story. And she takes that ship and heads over to the fortress. When she gets there, she speaks with Jor-El and he asks, how can he help the Bride of Kal-El? So she sits down. She's like, call me Lois. Here's the thing, Jor-El. You don't know this, but you and I spent some time together in space. We had a little adventure. You, me, and John. And you know what I learned on that trip? You can't be trusted. You or some crappy simulation version of you. I'm not here to ask for your help. I'm here to interview you. Tell me about Darkseid and the heart of Apokolips. There is no knowledge of Darkseid or the heart of, and Lois interrupts. Yeah, I know, in your archives. But when you're a reporter, you learn that finding out what is missing can help lead you in the right direction. Certain bits of information were illegal on Krypton, I get it. But where are the records on what was illegal? You had to know what was illegal to forbid it, right? And he responds, there is no. She interrupts him again. Your son right now is in the fight of his life. Frankly, doing what you couldn't, saving his world. You must know something about the heart of Apokolips. You must help him. And again, he repeats, there is no knowledge. There is no knowledge. There is no knowledge in our records. There is no knowledge in my records. There is no knowledge. No knowledge. No knowledge. And now she's like, oh, damn, I broke it. But that's when everything changes. And this is cool. I don't know in the mythos if we've seen this before. I haven't. So y'all let me know if we have. But the message changes. And now Lois is met with a different voice saying, you love my son. And we see that it's his mother, Lara L. And she says, when we sent Kal-El away, I hoped he would find happiness. I hoped he would find you. And now a shocked Lois is like, Lara, I don't know what to say. We haven't really talked before. And she responds, and yet Your questions triggered my program, my own memories tucked away within the fortress. My role on Krypton was as a historian. I worked on crafting the archives that were included in my son's shuttle. And while there are no records of a dark side, all the worlds Krypton encountered had a legend about a destroyer, the end of all things, a dark Omega presence that wanted to control all, the final god. Our scientists hope to create a champion to stop it, to change the future. But for there to be an Omega, there must be an Alpha. I believe Doomsday was created to be that. His powers of recreation and rebirth are in direct opposition to everything the King Omega is, which is absolutely insane. So are y'all telling me, y'all gonna sit here with a straight face and tell me that Doomsday is the savior? Doomsday is the Alpha to Darkseid's Omega? Y'all, man, I hope y'all minds are just blown his mind. That's crazy. But Lois is like, Doomsday is the Alpha? Clark needs to know this, but he needs to talk to you. How the hell am I gonna get to him? And just then, a crash comes through, boom, right through the fortress. And she runs and yells, Clark, Clark. But it's not her Clark. It's Superboy Prime. He's like Ron Clark. And she's like, Prime, Superman said you were stuck in the future. And he tells her, I was. I managed to hold off Darkseid's army, but they were too many. I know what happened to the rest of the legions. All the legions. I gotta tell Superman now. And Lois is like, you don't know? I need to talk to him too, but he's gone and I have no way to. And just then they're interrupted with another explosion that sends both of them flying. And then we're met by one of Darkseid's legions who comes in. Nice try, Superboy. We know Superman and the Justice League are trying to capture the heart of Apokolips. Darkseid is coming. We've already won. They left you to die. But this right here is cool, y'all. I want y'all to pay close attention. Superboy Prime's like, I'll stop you, son boy. And Sunboy's like, how? You're alone. No one can save you. And that's when Superboy Prime's like, well, there was something you forgot about. Sunboy's like, what's that? Prime's like, the last page reveal. And he's like, what are you smiling about? As we see Lois, who just got shot with that sun blast, is like, what the hell? And Superboy reveals, you blasted her with your sun powers, you dork. Superwoman is back. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. Oh, man. How y'all like this issue? Y'all know I want to hear about it all in the comments. Me personally, like I said, I haven't been much into a lot of the DC, so I haven't read a lot of their stuff, but I freaking loved it. I thought this was dope as hell. And next issue is Superboy Prime and Superwoman teaming up to fight against the Legion. Let's go. I'm here for it. But what did y'all think about it? And I got to know some of these continuity issues. How are Superman and Mercy speaking terms? I thought it was beef between them. I thought it was on sight between them. So y'all put me on game and let me know. But I want to hear all your thoughts and theories on if you like the issue, what else you see coming for this DC event, if y'all rocking with it so far, or anything that you're anticipating seeing. I want to hear all of the thoughts and theories. Let's chop it up down in the comments and let's really dig into this because I'm loving the hell out of it. So, as always, I definitely appreciate y'all stopping by. Please do your boy a solid. Get down there and help me out with that algorithm. Drop a like on this channel. Hit that bell to turn on notifications after you subscribe if you haven't already. And please share this thing. And also, you can also help out this channel tremendously by hitting that hype button. That's going to help put this channel in front of a lot more viewers. And hopefully we can run it up and constantly improve this thing. But I definitely appreciate y'all rocking with me as always. And ladies and gentlemen, y'all know it's about that time. I'm out. Peace.